This is year 31 for me in the NBA, and been around a lot of good people and all that stuff. And I got to give a shout out to Chef Bert. Chef Bert had a smoothie for me, had a cookie for me, and I mean, I'm extremely excited. I'm lucky. Chef Brian, who's the chef in Sacramento, right now, if I had to vote, he's ahead of Chef Bert because I'm with the Kinks. So I'm not going to put Chef Bert ahead of him. But Chef Bert is second behind Chef Brian and Chef Rachel and Chef Bert's dad, too. And I just want to give him some love and let you guys know that I was excited to eat this cookie. I waited literally like 15 minutes because I wanted to bring it in here and let you guys watch me take my first bite. Oh, no. This cookie's good. This pre-practice, post-practice. This right here is what I live for. The wins were great, but this right here by Chef Bert, fantastic.
Hey, Mike.
Thank you, Chef Bert.
Mike, on a scale
and a lot of love, Chef Brian. I'm rocking with you more than Chef Bert, but go ahead.
On a scale of like 1 to 10, what would you put that cookie right now of like all the cookies that you've had in your life?
I'd say this is a 9.5. And the only reason why
is because it's Chase Center?
No, Chase Center's cool. I watch my fig. I drink 1% milk, and if I had 1% milk, like I said, I got to watch my figure, and
Word.
Then the cookie would be even better. So minus the milk, it's a 9.5. But it's unbelievable.
That's what's up. So for like a basketball question, you guys have had on.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Yeah,
all good. You guys have had played and for your first 2 games played really well, but until you guys get down the stretch, how do you mitigate that on the fly, or is that just something that experience is going to teach you?
That's a great question. Well, I didn't help them much against Portland down the stretch. Part of it is in the preseason, we never really had a chance to experience that, especially with the guys that are on the floor. So I was kind of finding my way that game as much as they were finding their way. Portland did a heck of a job. You got to give Chauncey Billups, his staff, and their team a lot of credit because they were very physical from the beginning. But like you said, we put ourselves, even though we feel like we didn't play well and I didn't coach well, we put ourselves in position to have a chance to win down the stretch. Kind of same thing with the Clippers, but I do feel we made steps forward as a staff, starting with me, and as a team going into that Clipper game. And, we gave ourselves as good a chance we could at this point in our development to win that game down the stretch. And I told our guys there's no moral victories in it at all. But we need to trend up more than back. And, while you're trending up, you're going to do this. And, as long as it's not that, you do this and then you get back up and go again. And I felt from game 1 to game 2, I know at least from a staff standpoint, starting with me, we trended up in that second game, and hopefully it'll have some carryover tonight.
Mike, you haven't really wanted to talk about tonight because of, having games yesterday and having games on Wednesday, but getting your ring tonight, all the stuff, and just sort of closing the book on being part of this organization and now part of the Kings organization. So what's this night going to mean for you?
Man, it's going to be special. I got my mom in town, my girls in town, her kids are in town. My boys would be, but they're adults and they got their thing going on right now. So I couldn't ask for a better group of people to be here with me on this special night. Starting with Joe Lacob, Peter Gruber, Bob Myers and his group, Steve Kerr, and then you factor in Draymond and Andre and Steph and Clay and Loon and Dot, and I learned so much here, and they embraced me right away. All I have are fond memories here. I mean, that it was fantastic. I owe them a lot. I thank them for allowing me to be a part. And, I'm more than thrilled to be able to come back here and get a ring in this building at this time of the year. This is fantastic for me.
Mike, 2 questions. First, really important. What kind of smoothie are you drinking?
It's banana and strawberry.
Okay.
But it's, they put all the healthy stuff in for the players. I do the frozen yogurt and Bert adds the right amount of honey to it. So it's very good.
Okay.
Very good.
Cool. And then you kind of touched on this, just about how thrilling it is to be back here and get a ring. But is it kind of just like a weird feeling to, be going to the visiting locker room and not going to like your usual office and stuff like that when you're back here?
Yeah, it is weird. This is the first time that I've ever come down the loading dock, and then I had no clue where the coaches' offices were in the back, and to be sitting in front of you guys right now is kind of surreal, and I'm sure to feel that way going out there,
Thanks. Steve Kerr talks about you with such respect and admiration. Now that you guys aren't on the same coaching staff, what kind of relationship would you like to have going forward?
Well, hopefully it's one where I'm kicking his ass all the time, but I don't know if that will be the case right now. I learned a lot from Steve. I really did. Obviously everybody can say when they're younger and they get older, they're better. But I feel like I'm 100% better coach, mainly because of that man. Obviously, the players have a lot to do with it too, because the players always teach you something. But I learned a lot from Steve, not just X's and O part, but the stuff that can't be measured too, when it comes to culture and preparation and all that other stuff. But you talk about just a good human being and a man that treats people the right way, no matter what's going on, what situation is going on. He's just remarkable, and I owe him a lot. I will obviously continue to be friends, and at times I'll call and lean on him, and obviously he can call and lean on me at any time, except for when we're playing each other. And other than that, man, we'll have a friendship for the rest of our lives.
Hey, Mike, you're looking real slim these days, by the way.
But thank you. Yeah. Not because of these 2 things, but thank you.
Point guard and his head coach are inextricably tied all the time, and De'Aaron's off to a fantastic start. First Sacramento era player to start off back-to-back 30s. How do you grow when you talk about the leadership? Yeah, another call. How do you grow his leadership down the stretch and making those winning plays that ultimately get you guys in the win column?
You just keep putting him. You keep putting him in those situations, and.
So you guys had a spirited conversation,
right? And well, so what it stemmed from was, I don't know if you remember how many, maybe 10 or so plays or 15 or so plays before the game ended, we blew a pick and roll coverage, and Paul George went in and got a dunk from the left wing, and De'Aaron can win games. For us, not only offensively, I'm telling you, man, he's stronger, more athletic, and more fearless than what people give him credit for. And we blew the coverage on the perimeter, but that was De'Aaron's responsibility to cover it up. And he didn't do it. And I jumped him for it. And then if you fast forward to a few plays later, it kind of the same thing happened. Maybe it was Norman Powell, maybe it was Paul George, I'm not sure who it was, drove, we had a coverage breakdown, and De'Aaron was in the same spot and came across and went vertical and took the hit in the chest. And, he had 30-something points, and he had some pretty good highlights offensively. But for me, that right there was the play of the game. That right there for me stood out more than anything, because that showed, he can do it. So, you can do it. You better do it every time now. But to me, that shows growth. That shows the ability to close defensively down the stretch when you're willing to do the small things and sacrifice your body for the betterment of the team. So as you could tell, even when I think of that play now, I get excited. And those are the types of things that I'm looking for De'Aaron to do, because I know he can score. He got to be the fastest guy in the league. If not the fastest, he got to maybe be up there with Ja. You know, I don't know who else is up there, but he going to be able to get buckets for us. You got to bring other things to the table than just that. And he did on that possession.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Mike, if there's one thing the Kings have done well over the last decade or so, it's the chocolate chip cookies in the media room. So I'll bring you one of those.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
And you know, as you kind of reflect on like your time here and what you're doing in Sacramento now, I just wonder how much you expect to kind of tap into your experiences here with a successful organization and the structure that's in place, you know, to build something of your own in Sacramento.
You know, I'm tapping into a lot here. You know, again, when I was younger, one of the things that I always concentrated a lot on was, you know, this play and that play and this defensive scheme and that defensive scheme. And it's bigger than that. You know, that type of stuff, if you have talent, you may have a good year. You may win a few games. People may say, hey, you could coach a little bit, but at the end of the day, in this business, I truly believe that you want to have a sustained winning culture. And the only way to be able to win at a high level, and again, this is my personal opinion on it, only way to win at a high level and be able to sustain it is, like I said, is if your culture is right. And, you know, I've been fortunate, blessed, lucky, however you want to call it, to work with two of the best in that area in Greg Popovich and Steve Kerr. And again, I worked with them both long enough, and I've been around the game long enough. Their X's and O's are pretty good. Their culture building, their connectivity with a group, all the stuff that can't be measured in a stat sheet or with analytics or anything like that, it's off the charts. It's off the freaking charts. And that's why they have what they have with their programs. You know, I'm sure it's that same way. I played against the guy in college, so I've known him for a long time, and Eric Spoelstra. I'm sure it's probably no different there. Never worked for him, never been around him in this environment, but everybody talks about the Heat culture. Nobody talks about the Heat X's and O's, or that offensive play was great, or that defense about the Heat culture. And so learning and understanding that has to be first, second, third, and then you talk about the X's and O's and moving pieces around and all that other stuff, in my opinion, will give you a chance to build something, hopefully for a long time. So
you had Keegan on Paul George a little bit last night. How do you view him defensively kind of in the near term and then, you know, in the longer term when he's 3 years in the league?
Slate, man, I'm not sure yet, because I'm learning something new about that young man every day. When we first drafted him, I thought he was going to be a power forward, you know. By the end of summer league, I was like, oh, he might be 2, 3, 4. I don't know what he is now, but yeah, he's a baller. He can ball for a young man, and it just doesn't stop with his ability to shoot the ball. I think he can be a very, very, very good two-way guy, and a guy that can possibly guard a lot of different positions. And so he's going to get that opportunity too, sooner than later.
Mike, after a game where you miss some free throws and you lose by 2, I mean, a significant number of free throws, what do you say? Is it reps? Is it just regrouping and focus and fundamentals, or how do you bounce back from that?
Well, you know, the good part about it, we got another game, and so we can go out there and see if we can do better in that area and some other areas. But I'm not a pink elephant guy. If there's a pink elephant in the room, I'm just going to address it. I think that we all get paid good money. We all should be under the microscope. We all should be told if we're not doing our job. And so, you know, I went in the locker room and I told the guys what I thought about the game, and also said, hey, you know, I don't think I'm jinxing any of you guys. You guys are pros. You get paid a lot of money. we got to make free throws. You guys did a hell of a job, which they did, getting to the free throw line. Now you got to convert. And we shoot a lot in practice. Obviously, we may have to shoot more. But I said, in the same breath, you guys are pros and you work out, because our guys have been fantastic working pre-practice, post-practice. And I said, you have to incorporate more free throws in your routine. And I said, I can't be there to babysit you guys in a situation. So each man's got to look in the mirror and figure out what you can do to be locked in from that free throw line so it doesn't cost us games, especially down the stretch of tight ball games or one possession games. Thank you, guys.